Hey guys, Chelsea from Attention to Details, and today in the shop we are working on this 2000 Ford Excursion, and yes, this roof actually was as rough as it looks. This vehicle is actually with its third owner, and the current owner admitted that he never actually washes the roof, and it kind of shows. Because maintenance has been a little difficult to keep up with this vehicle, the customer is wanting it to be ceramic coated. First, we need to address some of the major issues that's going on the exterior. First, a good wash, but it's got severe swirls, faded paint. The main method of maintenance for this owner has been actually taking it to a truck wash because he is a truck driver and using their high pH or low pH soaps and a brush on it. So we need to address some of the faded paint issues that are going on. But on top of that, we also have tar, clear coat failure, rust, and even some crow's feet in various spots of the vehicle. Our wheels have a lot of tar and brake dust that have just built up on them. We're going to do what we can to clean them. Customer's really not looking for a miracle. He understands that there's some issues going on. So we're going to do what we can within his budget and within our means to try to at least clean the vehicle, restore some of the gloss and shine to the paint, and then give it a durable protection coating so that way it's a lot easier for him to maintain moving forward. We also have to do an interior detail, but the interior is not without its issues as well. Now, there's not much that I can do to reverse tears in leather, but we're still going to do a really good deep cleaning of all of our surfaces. They actually own several pets, and prior to dropping it off to me, they had done about 7 or 8 hours of vacuuming themselves. We're trying to keep the budget down on this one as much as possible, but we still have a lot of work cut out for us on this interior. From our plastics, our glass, from dogs' residue, pet hair, etc., we need to do a deep cleaning of every surface. So we're going to share with you guys the products that we use to undo some of the damage that has been done over the last several years. But a lot can be done in a little bit of time. It just takes the proper products and a little bit of elbow grease to be able to reverse all of this damage. Unfortunately, because of how much work we had to do on this vehicle, I wasn't able to video the entire process, but we'll bring you back in for glimpses along the way of our transformation, and we'll for sure bring you back for the end result. So let's go ahead and get started. We've got a lot of work to do. Realistically, this is going to be several days that we're going to be working on this. I don't necessarily have full straight 8 or 9 hour days to be able to devote to this. So today we're going to do our wash, decontamination, maybe attempt to do some polishing. Tomorrow we're going to apply our coating. I can't undo clear coat failure. I can't undo rust. At this point, it is what it is. They are aware of that. But we're going to do as thorough of a cleaning as possible, decontamination, and then our polish. Again, the customer is not looking for paint perfection. One, because of the age of the vehicle, it's not necessarily going to be the healthiest because we've already got clear coat failure, and I'm assuming we're probably going to have pretty thin paint in certain areas. I don't want to be super aggressive shaving off more clear coat that is going to just accelerate the issues that they're actually trying to stay off. So again, a lot to do. I'm just going to bring you guys in for quick looks at some of the process and the products that I use. And hopefully we're going to have a really great end result at the end of this video. So you've seen the before. Let's get into the process so that you can see the satisfying afters. Fingers crossed. For our tires and wheels, since they're pretty bad, we're going to use Superior Products Dark Fury at about a 5-to-1 dilution ratio. You can use that on your wheel wells, tires, and wheels, but we're also going to spray on top of that Extreme Solutions Hot Shot Wheel Acid at about a 1-to-1 dilution ratio. When you combine a high pH and a low pH solution, it kind of makes a super cleaning power. But we're also going to spray all of our door jambs down with our Superior Products Dark Fury. That does a really nice job of quickly blasting all of that dirt right off without me having to do any sort of contact. Another tool that I find handy for really bad wheels is the brake dust eraser from Stoner. It does a really nice job of cutting through all of the dirt very quickly versus me having to use an intricate brush and spend a lot of time scrubbing off the dirt. So because this vehicle was so large, I was unable to pull it under my canopy to wash it under. So we have to be a little strategic with how we wash it to try to avoid any sort of water spotting issues. But it's big, it's black, we're washing in direct sunlight. So whenever we wash the vehicle, we're going to start on the side that's out of direct sunlight, and then lastly do any sort of sides that are exposed to the sun, just to try to help diminish that risk of water spotting issues. we're going to spend quite a bit of time doing our high pressure rinse, especially on the roof of this vehicle. And then after doing our rinse, we're going to actually do a foaming pre-soak with Washchem's Pro 100. Now, this is actually a very popular product with truck washes. And this is a high pH soap that does a really nice job of touchless washing vehicles if they don't have a lot of grime on them. We let that sit on there for about a minute or two, and then we're going to blast all that off.
So we've not done our contact wash yet, but this is just after doing our foaming pre-soak with the Washchem's Pro 100. You can see we've got a big difference on this paint. It's still got some road film. You can see right there just the difference, but we were able to blast a lot of that heavy contaminant that was just kind of stuck on there. So now when we come in and do our contact wash, it's going to be a lot more forgiving. We're not going to be inducing possibly near as much scratches, but I mean, you can tell I could take a car wash brush to this and you wouldn't notice, just because it's pretty bad. But I know some detailers would say do no harm at this point. I'm just looking to give us deep, clean results. And so even if you use a soft brush that's dedicated for paint in this moment, I personally wouldn't judge. In fact, I'm half wondering if that's what I want to do, because you can tell that they go through, they actually work. One of the owners is a truck driver and has said that he will take this vehicle to the truck wash, use their low pH soaps, and it normally does a good job. But I can also tell that he's using the brushes on this because it's pretty severe. So we'll see what we can do as far as polishing wise, but when it comes to paint, I'm not going to be worried in this moment about inducing swirls and scratches with either my wash method or my clay towel, because as you can tell, the damage has already been done.
My biggest issue with this vehicle was the roof. Because it had been so sorely neglected, I actually ended up using a soft brush on the roof just to try to scrub off some of the scum that had built up. I could almost scrape it off with my fingernail, it was that thick. But we did a thorough wash. We also did a chemical decon clay towel treatment, rinsed it, dried it off, pulled it into the garage, but realized we still had quite a bit of contaminants on it.
So we've got ADG wipeout on a microfiber. We're just going to soak this panel. I'm not worried about, too little of solution. You actually want to go heavy on your solution if you're using it as a clay lubricant. We still had some contamination on here. The clay towel for a newer vehicle is perfect. It's going to be non-aggressive when you wash it properly. I know I had some people comment and say that they had marring with the clay towel. If you do proper wash and then rinse and then use good lubrication, I really haven't had too terribly much when I'm not using much pressure. You really don't need to scrub with the clay towel. You're just kind of gliding over the surface. But for those of you that you prefer to use a clay bar, you can see even after I did the clay towel, we're pulling up rail dust on this paint. It's just that bad. 22 years of contaminants that have just kind of accumulated. So now we've got our paint decontaminated. We're ready to come in and polish our paint. And then now, once we've removed any sort of bonded contaminant, we've got a silky smooth surface. Our ceramic coating is going to actually be able to bond with our clear coat versus anything that might be lying on the surface of the clear coat that's going to really affect our durability. So we just got done with our test spot, and I'll show that to you in just a second, but I want to kind of explain to you guys what's going on with this paint. First and foremost, yeah, severe swirls and scratches from just life. 22 years of being washed and driven around with pets, etc. It's kind of taking its toll, but we also have dull paint. What can happen is if you use too harsh of soaps, whether they're an acid-based soap or a high alkaline soap, those are typically what you're going to find at the automatic car wash or maybe even a truck wash. They can dry out your paint. Paint is porous like your skin, and if you use too harsh of soaps on your skin, it's going to dry it out. And so how do you replenish that? Well, for skin, you would put a lotion on it. For paint, you would do a polish, and that polish actually has oils within it that's going to kind of replenish the rich color of your paint. And so we've actually done our test spot. I was hoping that it would just be a one step, but because of the severity of the condition of this paint being dry, as well as swirls and scratches, if I were to come in and just do a polish, we're not going to do much in way of removing the swirls and scratches. Plus, we might actually have some holograms or some ghosting going on because it's going to be uneven. So we really need to cut through all of this kind of dead paint or the dead surface of this paint and then put polishing oils back in. So we're going to have to do a two-step.
So here are the results after our initial test spot. This was with Shine Supply Flat Top. This is a fast cutting diminishing abrasive. After about 2 passes, you've worked through the abrasives in the product. But then we had to follow up with their Classic Finish Plus, which is a specialty polish. It helps you finish down on especially finicky paint. And I actually discovered that this paint was pretty finicky. It didn't want to handle anything more aggressive than really a orange or yellow foam pad. Anything more aggressive than that, then we had quite a bit of work out ahead of us.
So we are day 2 of our Ford Excursion. Yesterday took a lot longer than anticipated, but we were able to do our wash, our chemical decon, clay towel treatment. That's pretty straightforward, as I've done on my channel numerous times. But we actually have so much oxidation on this vehicle that we're having to come behind, do a second rinseless wash and a clay bar treatment just to remove the contamination. The biggest issue I'm running into though right now is this roof. It is sorely neglected. The customer actually said that he never washes it, and it's kind of obvious. But before we can do anything with this roof, we need to do a really thorough cleaning. We actually just removed the 2 center pieces to the luggage rack. This one was pretty bad, and then back here you can actually see we still have just kind of a faded appearance to it. Our wash process actually just kind of brightened the paint in and of itself, but we still need to come in and clean thoroughly under the end pieces, and then we're actually just going to do a quick one-step polish. So you're not going to see me do a lot of work on the roof just because I really just want to kind of punch this out, get it out of the way. So actually turn you around in a second and show you guys the 50-50 of what we were able to do on the roof, and then we're just going to do our panel prep wipe. Also, I'm looking for something that I can just quickly apply, get it done and out of the way, because it's going to be a little arduous to ceramic coat this. I am almost 6 feet tall and I can barely reach the middle front with my height. So for those of you that maybe are height challenged, if you're working on a big vehicle like this, make sure you have a really tall ladder and a way to access all points, because some of these big vehicles, they can be even a challenge for me. So we have a lot of work to do today. We're going to get the roof done first and foremost, and that way I can focus on the hood and the sides and just kind of focus on that. This gets a little overwhelming for me, so I tend to procrastinate, hence why I'm doing a video right now. But let's get it done. So we're gonna set a timer so that way I can pace myself and get it done, and then we will move on to our coating. I just wanted to give you guys a quick update.
Here's our 50-50 on our roof after doing our rinseless wash, clay bar treatment, and just a one-step paint enhancement with Detail Addicts Platinum Polish. This is a quick cutting hybrid polish. We did have quite a bit of oxidation, even some spots of clear coat failure and crow's feet, and there's really no fix for that other than a respray. So I'm not wanting to be super aggressive. Even when we tried shifting gears from flat top to Detail Addicts Platinum Polish, some of our panels didn't want to polish down nicely. We had some micro marring, even if I went with anything more aggressive than a yellow foam pad. So we did use the Classic Finish Plus specialty polish. I'm just going to demonstrate for you very quickly how that product works. Very quick passes, leave the residue on your panel, wipe it off. Then we followed that up with paint cleanser just to remove any sort of panel prep wipe, and you can see what our end results were.
Detailer log day, I don't even know. It just feels like I've been polishing for an eternity. I literally think my right arm is about to fall off. We did the roof and the hood. We had severe oxidation, crow's feet on there. I had an issue with a lot of haze and just micro marring left behind when I did a two-step, and so we've just dialed it back to not getting quite as much correction, but it still is removing all of the oxidation and leaving behind a nice finish. Detail Addicts Platinum Polish in the roof has yellow foam pad is doing a really nice job. Where we did have a haze, the Shine Supply Classic Finish Plus did a really nice job. The trick to that 4 pea-sized drops on a white foam pad. Do like 2 quick passes. Don't work it until it's translucent. Leave that residue on there and then wipe off. And that removed the hazing, but I'm not looking to battle this paint and have to do a 2-step because it really wasn't giving me a noticeable difference in correction. So Detail Addicts Platinum Polish, Rupes Yellow Foam Pad. You can see we've got nice clarity. We've got about, I'd say 50 to 75% correction. It's 22 years worth of swirls and scratches. We're not gonna remove it in one treatment, but that's okay. But anyways, we're gonna keep moving, but good Lord, I think my arm just might fall off.
So we're going to shift over to the interior, and I don't have much footage to show you beyond this just because of how much time this vehicle took. But our leather was probably the worst of our interior. I was a little afraid to go with an aggressive cleaner because I wasn't sure that the leather could handle it. But this wasn't dyed. It was just a lot of dirt that had built up over the years. So we used our Auto Fiber Scrub Ninja. And the product that we're actually testing out is the Superior Products Leather Cleaner. It is my favorite cleaner for nasty leather. Look what it can do. It absolutely transformed this leather. You don't want to use it on dyed leather because it will pull the dye right off, but this is my favorite cleaner to quickly cut through nasty grime on leather. So although I don't have much footage to show for the interior detailing, here are the end results. We had just one day to finish the interior and a lot of work to do. I use some of my favorite products for heavy cleaning for interiors, and that's Superior Products, their leather cleaner, Pink Perfection for all of our plastics, Dark Fury for our WeatherTech mats, Invisible Glass along with a magic eraser to deep clean and leave behind streak-free results for our glass. And then we use Shine Supply, their carpet cleaner, to remove all of the heavy soiling in the carpets and left behind a fantastic citrus scent. We were able to remove years worth of dirt and just leave behind a really transformed interior that's going to be a lot easier for the customer to maintain moving forward. So as you can see, the interior turned out really nice. But here's our exterior. This is where we spent a majority of our efforts. We spent about 4 hours washing it, about 10 hours polishing it, and another hour ceramic coating it. We ended up using the McKees 37, their graphene ceramic coating. About 50 to 75% of the swirls and scratches were removed, but more than anything, we were able to restore gloss and shine, clarity and reflection to this paint, and then apply a long-term durable protective coating that's going to make maintenance a whole lot easier for this customer moving forward. As I said in the beginning, this was several days of hard work, but in just mere days we were able to reverse years of life that has happened to this vehicle. I didn't know what to expect when we first started out working on this Excursion, but when the customer came to pick up their vehicle, they actually didn't recognize their own car. It looked so absolutely transformed. And they've actually stopped by a few times since then, and they've been able to keep up with maintenance on this vehicle. And that's what a good detail can do. It can kind of reset things and just make it a lot easier for you to keep up with it and make it more maintainable. So I'm going to put the link to all the products that we use down below. But thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys like and subscribe for future videos that we have coming out. But here's our end result for our Excursion. I'm really happy with the end result, and hopefully you enjoyed this transformation video as well. We'll see you guys soon.